Hello and welcome. Today I'll show you a top-of-the-line useClickOutside React hook. The main use cases being dropdowns and modals. To start off, here we have a toggle dropdown button, which will open a dropdown. But as you can see, if we click anywhere on the page besides the button itself, the dropdown will not close. So to start off, we want to import useRef, define a dropdown ref, and assign the ref to the element containing the dropdown content. Next, we're going to define the useClickOutside hook itself. It's going to take in two parameters, the ref, which will be of type React ref object t or null. T here will just extend elements, which means it will accept any and all elements. And the second parameter will be the callback, which will be called whenever the click happens outside of the element we pass in. Then we want to define the useEffect call, which will take the ref and the callback as its dependencies. Inside of it, we will define a handle click outside function, which will take the event of type mouse event as its only parameter. Inside of it, we will put the if statement, which will check if the ref currently does exist, as well as if the target of the mouse event is indeed not the element currently contained within the ref. If this is the case, then the click happened outside of the element that is in the ref, which means we do want to trigger the callback. And finally, we want to tie down the handle click outside to the event listener of the document on any milestone event, as well as clean it up in the return statement, which will avoid any memory leaks. And finally, we will go back to the component, import the hook, call the hook, passing down the ref, as well as the callback, where the callback will contain only the call to close the dropdown in case it is indeed open, and save. We can now go back to the browser, click on the dropdown, and then click outside of it. And as you can see, it closes. Isn't this beautiful? Now, you could take this as the end, but what if I told you you could hypothetically come across a designer with some questionable requirements where he says, oh, actually, I do not want this dropdown to close. If some specific elements of the page are interacted with, I want it to stay open. In this case, this hook would not be that good because you would need to pass multiple refs down, and all of them should be taken into account when clicking. So let's update you with the knowledge for this specific special case, just in case. So what we need to update is, first of all, the parameter, which will now be refs instead of ref, and it will be an array instead of a single reference. Afterwards, we will update dependency of the useEffect to also be this new array instead of just a single element. Finally, we will update the if statement to check that none of the refs in this array are the event target. If that is the case, it will call the callback. Now, if we go back to our component, the only thing we need to do is update the parameter passed here instead of a single ref into an array. And save. If we now go back to the browser, you can see it works the exact same way. Look at this beautifully. Looking at it beautifully, let's define a new ref here, a new div that takes this ref, as well as pass this ref to the useClick hook. Now, if we go back to the browser, we can fully showcase this, where if we open the dropdown and then click anywhere else, it closes it. But if we click on this specific click me text, it still stays open. Both versions as well as this demo can be found in the description, in the GitHub link, in the repo. Thank you. Bye.